Hey guys, welcome back to Storytime with Assad. I know it's been a while and I humbly apologize for the long absence. But I just needed some time to kind of, get myself in order like, emotionally and stuff. It's the new year and things may not have been all that great, but I'm trying to make the best of it. And I have been reading, yes. Like no matter what happens, I'm always reading. That helps me take my mind off of things. I actually got a free copy of a book. I, you know, wanted a free copy and I would be able to review it. I saw it as an opportunity to kind of not feel like or be like one of those YouTubers who actually get books to review. Like, they actually get it personally, but I felt like it was kind of fate that I got this book. I'm a person, like, if it is I love a book, especially a free book, I usually tend to go out and buy it, as well as buy like the second part or the third part, depending on if there are other parts to the series, because I feel like authors, they put a lot of thought into this, they a lot of hard work, and they deserve to get that extra money. I know it's not all about the money, but I feel like because they do this for a living, it's good to put yourself out there and get it, like show your support in that sense. Some people, I know, like it's different for some people financially and stuff, so that's okay. It's not a problem, but that's the kind of person I am, and I was more than happy to actually read and review this book. I generally don't like to read online, so I was kind of skeptical when I saw the email, but I was like, hey, let me try something new, and I went for it. So today, I would be reviewing The Connelly Boys, which is book one of the Celtic Witches, written by the lovely Lily Velez. I think I pronounced your name properly. Correct me if I'm wrong. So the Connelly Boys. You would think that the Connelly Boys, yes, four brothers, and you would think that they are the protagonists of the series, but they're actually not. They are somewhat of a protagonist. They're like, what do you call them? Second. I refer to them as second base characters. I don't know. They're like, the ones that supports the protagonist. Yeah. Uh, the protagonist is actually a female. Her name is Scarlett, and she moved from her hometown to Roslyn Bay, Ireland, where she now lives with her father. And she met the Connelly boys, particularly Jack, which is the eldest of the Connelly boys. And it so happened that there was a demon attack. Yes, I will get to that. There was a demon attack, which apparently no one else saw besides Jack and Scarlett. And Scarlett had to save, well, she didn't have to, but she did. She saved Jack from being possibly killed by a demon. And that's when Jack realized that Scarlett was someone different. She's not ordinary. And so she is thrown into the whole realm of the Connelly boys' life. And behold, their lives are fully based on witches, demons. When I started reading this book, I thought about the Shadowhunters because I'm a huge fan of the Shadowhunter series, and this book, when you start to read it, because there's a mention of demons a lot, it's very heavy in this book, you automatically think Shadowhunters, because they're demon hunters. Shadowhunters are demon hunters, and Jack and his brothers, they are essentially demon hunters. But as the story went along, you realize that, hey, it's not Shadowhunters. Nothing is wrong, that it resembles Shadowhunters in a way, but as the story progressed, you feel its own identity. It's nothing like Shadowhunters anymore. It has its own identity, and I love that about the book. So, I personally, I know for the newcomers, I generally, when I do book reviews, I don't like spoiling the storyline, like going into in depth with plots and whatever romances, what happened at the end of this book, what I think is gonna happen. I don't like to do that because I feel like a review should be more of your opinion of the story holistically and not, like little points within the books, like subplots and stuff. So I try to give a general review and make it short, simple. It's up to you. It's sort of like an encouragement for you to read. Yeah, so then we can discuss it, via email or whatever you guys prefer. But that's what I do. I know some other booktubers, they do it differently. Like, they talk about all the different stuff that's going on, and I love that about them. But I feel like I can't do that. What I thought about this book is generally it's a really great book. Holistically, it has its own identity, as I mentioned, and I love that about it. So I think anyone who writes a book like that, they deserve a lot of credit. Secondly, the storyline it's kind of entwined with the first point I mentioned. The storyline is very intriguing. I love that it deals with a lot of demons and witches, and you get insight on both worlds. But hopefully, in the other parts, second and third part maybe, we get to see more of the demon side of things, because we didn't really get to see much of that in the first book. Secondly, thirdly, sorry, sorry. What I loved about this book as well is that the writing is flawless. I'm not really a critique when it comes to writing, but I felt like because I'm critiquing a book, I should start doing that, like paying more attention to the writing. I could be biased because I know a lot of authors, they write in their own style, how they're, what they're comfortable with. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm I'm an open-minded person. I'm okay with how you write. And I read to suit. So yeah, this writing was flawless. It's amazing. I really like it. And I think you should keep it up. This story was actually very fast-paced, and I love that about it. It seems like, for some reason, it seems a bit slow, but it really isn't. And I think that's usually the case for all first-timer books. And I mean, that's okay. I was really intrigued from the very beginning because I think it starts off with a bang with Scarlet having nightmares and stuff. So it really drives you into the story, and by the end of the day, or 2 days, depending on how fast you read, you realize you finished the book. And you're just waiting for more. And you're probably dying like I am. Fourth, what number did I reach? Okay, doesn't matter. It's adventurous. It's one of those adventure stories, and I love adventure. I feel like it carries you to different places different places as compared to what you would be accustomed to. I've never been to Ireland. I hope I do one day, but for now, I would just sit back and enjoy imagery from this book of Ireland and probably the witches and stuff. Maybe if I go to Ireland, I would meet Scarlet and the Connelly Boys and be part of their world. Okay, one thing actually, the last thing I loved about this book, I think I've covered everything else, but the last thing I love about this book is a particular character. There is a particular demon, and I wouldn't mention his name because I feel like it'll spoil a lot of the story. But there's a particular demon that plays a role coming down to the end. He's very witty. I like him. And he reminds me a lot of Magnus Bane, I should say, but he also has his own identity, and I like that about him. He seems like a handful. And I love how Lily introduces this demon, sorry, not warlock, demon, and she gives you enough to go on, but at the same time it's not enough that you're just grasping for more of him. And I do hope that we see more of him. He reminds me of Magnus Bane, yes, but there's also a book called The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Reddin. It's a fiend. His name is what was his name? Alistair. Yeah, he's a fiend, and this particular demon reminds me of him. They probably do have the same type of role, I guess, but quite different. But this demon, he is very he's epic. I feel like I need more of him, to be honest. I feel like he would drive a lot of the story as it progressed into book 2, and I don't know if there's a book 3. Hopefully, I don't know. I know there's a book 2. So, okay. So yeah, that's about it for what I liked about the story. Um, I feel like I feel bad for doing this. What I don't like about the story. Okay. The first thing I didn't like about the story is the fact that it was written in first person. I know I mentioned previously that I'm okay with how an author writes their stories, but when it comes to first person, I am kind of like, "Ugh, do I really need to read this story?" Yes, because as time goes by into the story, I get accustomed to the first person. I have no problem with it actually. It's just that personally I feel like when you write in third person, you get to you get an insight of all the characters, or at least the main characters of the story. So in this case, you would get Scarlet, you would get Jack, you would get his other brothers, but that wasn't in this book. However, I know that at the end of reading the first book, Lily mentioned that the second story would be written in a different point of view. So I assume we'll be seeing Scarlet's point of view, and we'll also be getting Jack and his other brothers' point of view in the stories, which I think is great because of the romance that I know is building in the story between Jack and Scarlet. Yes, it's kind of obvious they would, have a romance going on. I felt a lot of Scarlet's emotions towards Jack, and it. I felt it. I really did, and I love that. However, I did not feel Jack's emotions towards Scarlet, and that bothers me because it's kind of, I don't know, I did not like that because it's as if I know it's written in first person, so you would only get Scarlet's point of view in it, but I felt like this may sound weird. I felt like Jack wasn't doing enough to show his love for Scarlet. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know if he's using her, what. I just don't know, right? I know it's a fantasy book and they would probably end up together in the end, which is normal, that's fine, but I want to feel Jack's emotions towards Scarlet. And I'm pretty sure that's gonna happen in the second book. I hope it does. Okay, so I think that's it for what I did not like about the story. Yeah, I'm usually okay with stories like this. It's just the writing. One other thing to note is there is a spoiler in the book. So there's a character called the Reaper, and he apparently takes the souls of people. Well, witches actually. And there was a point in the book, particularly almost the very beginning, probably within the first 4 chapters, maybe 5, I figured out who the Reaper was, even though they didn't mention who the Reaper was. Oh, they didn't mention about the Reaper, but I realized that this particular character would have been the end game, essentially. That's what I like to call it, the end game of the story. And this character really did justice to what was taking place in the story, like what everything was building up to. I felt like that character delivered their part, and I'm very satisfied with that character's twist and action. So I really love that. Overall, I would give this story 5 out of 5 stars. It's very brilliant, it's magical, it's adventurous. I would totally recommend it, especially to readers who are into like Narnia, Shadowhunters particularly. Anything dealing with witches, warlocks, demons, you would get that sort of atmosphere. And it's a very nice read. It's very comfortable, there's romance, there's comedy. Yeah, I actually laughed a lot. I did not expect to laugh because I usually feel like fantasy novels are kind of serious in a way, but I know some authors tend to make it funnier. just to lighten the mood and stuff. But I love that it was a very smooth story with comedy in it, so that's something to look forward to in it as well. So I should be reviewing the second book. Hopefully, I get a copy. I would look into buying. I don't know when I'm gonna buy it, but until then, I would just read what I have, because I have a list of books that I haven't read yet, and then I would probably do a review of the second book whenever it's released. I think it's releasing this month actually. So yeah. So once again, welcome back to Storytime with Asad. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I apologize so much for being absent. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, bye!